More and more evidence is accumulating that SARS-CoV-2, the coronavirus responsible for COVID-19, was circulating worldwide long before it was first identified in Wuhan, China in late 2019. Genetic material specific to SARS-CoV-2 has been found in wastewater samples in Italy, Spain, and Brazil, with the Spanish sample from Barcelona dating back to March 2019. Lung x-rays from France also show that COVID-19 was present a month or two before it was identified in China, and Italian doctors have confirmed that an outbreak of the disease had occurred in northern Italy in October and November 2019. There is also anecdotal evidence that people in Italy, Spain, the US, and elsewhere had contracted the disease in the fall of 2019. Circumstantial evidence also suggests that vaping disease, which spiked in the US in the summer of 2019, and unexplained respiratory diseases in nursing homes in Maryland soon after a contamination event that occurred in July 2019 at nearby Fort Detrick, home to a US Bioweapons lab, could be attributed to COVID-19 as well. A recent paper by Chinese geneticists says that the strains of coronavirus can be traced to 8 countries from 4 continents before the Wuhan outbreak, with South Asia perhaps being the epicenter. They caution that more research needs to be conducted to verify their hypothesis. But perhaps the smoking gun, indicating that neither Wuhan nor China was the place of origin for COVID-19, is the finding that antibodies to SARS-CoV-2 were present in the US by mid-December 2019. That means that the coronavirus was circulating in the US at least as early as November, as it can take 1 to 3 weeks after infection for your body to make antibodies. It can be assumed that it was present prior to then as well, most likely during the summer of 2019. This would be consistent with the anecdotal and circumstantial evidence that COVID-19 was silently spreading in the US long before it was identified in China. Moreover, the strain of the coronavirus now afflicting the US originated in Europe, not Asia, and entered the country during a super spreader event at US airports when there was a mass exodus of US residents from Europe in early March 2020, which led to the first wave of infection in New York soon thereafter. China was able to identify the mysterious respiratory illness, which presents itself with symptoms similar to the common flu, because of their experience with the closely related SARS epidemic of 2003. China has been studying coronaviruses ever since and has a virology lab located in Wuhan. Chinese doctors were therefore well placed to identify the outbreak when it occurred when others were not. After China alerted the world to the disease and sequenced its genome, the rest of the world paid no heed and ridiculed China for its proactive lockdown, which the Western media called draconian and a human rights violation. But China succeeded in containing and controlling the pandemic, saving hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of Chinese lives. The rest of the world had months to prepare for the inevitable pandemic, but did not do so, resulting in its uncontrolled spread. Instead of taking responsibility for their own failures, however, they blamed China for warning them. Truly a case of shooting the messenger for the message. From the get-go, the U.S. tried to politicize the origin of the COVID-19 pandemic to stigmatize China and whip up anti-Chinese racism. Australia and other U.S. allies took up the cudgel and tried to implicate China in the spread of the coronavirus, again creating animosity towards China and its people. This was done with the clear intent and motive of trying to damage China's reputation and create trouble for it internationally. An official with the World Health Organization said there could be more than one COVID-19 case, zero, because there may have been more than one species breach. The truth will out, and it is becoming increasingly clear that China was not responsible for the COVID-19 pandemic. The transmission of the disease to humans from an animal host was complex and may have occurred multiple times in multiple locations. The U.S. and its Western allies owe China an apology.